Welcome to the second video. So we are going to move into sketch environment. We'll be seeing line command today. So lines are nothing but freehand lines which you can create in pencil also, but you are creating lines in the computer here. So if, as you wish, in different orientation in X, Y or Z, you can create lines. So there are different types of lines. As you can see, there are lines as sketched: horizontal, vertical and inclined lines. So inclined lines means they don't have any constraints. They are any angle 0 to 360 degrees, any angle you can create. So then second kind of line is horizontal lines, means here only lines which are in horizontal direction, means in X direction only is possible, cannot draw in Y or Z direction, as you can see here. Then the third type of directions is Y direction, nothing but vertical line. So you can draw only vertical, cannot draw horizontal, or you cannot draw inclined lines. Then fourth one is nothing but inclined dimensions, as also all you have seen. So only inclination lines, no straight lines can be drawn. So straight lines can also be called orthogonal lines. So lines can also created as reference lines. These are called construction lines. The specialty of these lines is, suppose you want to create a part not directly but indirectly, means lines or any objects which cannot be visible in 2D, which cannot be visible in 3D but are visible in 2D. Such as, if you want to create an hexagon, you need to create first a circle. You need to mention whether it should be inscribed or circumscribed. That is the use of reference lines. So reference lines can be very useful. Suppose you don't want them come into 3D, interfere in 3D, but you want them as reference for the other lines or other objects, then you can use reference lines. So moving to infinite lines. Infinite lines are nothing but lines with infinite length, so they not end anywhere. Simply they can also taken as axis lines also. Then midpoint line. Line is nothing but it starts from midpoint, means line has a midpoint, so it goes in two directions. Under options you have for construction infinite lines. So there are, as you can see, they are mentioned below. Midpoint line, you can use shortcuts such as control plus 7 for isometric view. So if you use control 7, you will get isometric view, and if you use control 8, you will get orthographic view. Then second command is rectangle command. So rectangle, as you know, is a combination of lines. So there are 5 methods in rectangles. First method is corner rectangle method. So rectangle using corners, these two are opposite corners. So create a rectangle using two opposite corners, very simple. And as you can see on the screen, there are constraints by default. As rectangle is straight lines, combination of straight lines, you will get horizontal and vertical constraints. Then second one is center rectangle. It starts from the center and move in both directions, similar to corner rectangle, but here it starts from the center. Then third one is 3-point rectangle. This 3-point corner, nothing but the first 2 points determine the angle. So it can be taken as inclined rectangle with this angle. So first 2 points are inclination and third one is the height. Then fourth one is 3-point center, means the same as 3 corner, but it comes from the center. 3 points coming from the center, same inclined rectangle, but instead of the corners you are getting from the center. Now coming to the next one, parallelogram. So rectangle using parallelogram. You know already parallelogram, you need two parallel lines which are parallel perpendicular to each other and having some angle. So the rectangle is determined by the two lines. So without two lines you cannot create this method, cannot create rectangle using this method. So I'm creating two lines. You can create any angle, doesn't matter what lines of the angles. So you need to select the first line, then only it will come. So select the first line and select the second line, then you will get a rectangle which is parallel. So it's called parallelogram, rectangle using parallelograms. Then third type is slots. Slots can be hole for keyhole profiles and all. There are total 4 slots. The first slot is called straight slot. So straight slot indicates, as its name, it is straight. So you need to create an axis and mention some radius. So you can create this using rectangle and circles also. You can trim the rest of the portion, you will get a slot. Then second option is center straight slot, center point straight slot, sorry. So it starts from the center, the same as the previous method, but the only difference is it starts from the center. So as you can see here, the axis comes from the center in both directions and the radius. Then one more example here. So as you can see, when you are taking objects, there is a reference created. So you need to be careful whether the constraints are created. Now moving toward the 3-point arc slot, then 3-point arc slot is nothing but similar to the straight slot, but here it in terms of an arc. So you can see an arc, radius, center, and then you will get a circle. Then same thing, start, center, and radius and major axis. Then the fourth one is center point arc slot, similar to the previous 3-point arc slot, but it comes from the center, the only difference. So create a center, 3-point arc and a slot. Very easy if you practice these things. Then the next one is circle. There are two circle methods, 2-point circle method and perimeter circle. 2-point circle is nothing but circle using 2 points. Any 2 random points you need to create and you'll get a circle. So first is center, second is radius. So it is a known fact. Then perimeter circle is nothing but circle created using its perimeters. So first, second and third point, it will create a circle using its perimeters. So one more example here. The radius set itself, you don't need to create any radius value. Just you need to be careful with the geometric constraints. Now the next one is arc. There are 3 types of arcs called center point, tangent and 3-point arcs. So first one is center point arc. So center, then arc, start, end. So here it's not a circle, it's an arc having an angle. So we'll create an arc. You can create an arc using tangents also. So tangent arcs you can create, but for tangent arc you need a line. So it's getting an error here. So we need to create a circle or arc, whatever line, anything. Then you can start an arc from there. So you need a tangent point, then only you get. Otherwise you will not get if you don't have any tangent point. Then so there is one more method to create a slot I am showing here. So create a rectangle, then create tangent arc in this both directions, then you can trim the portion, you get a slot. 3-point arcs. So this is very easy arcs using 3 points. Give any 3 points anywhere, you'll get an arc. So you can see here 1 2 3, get an arc. 1 2 3, you'll get an arc. Same here. Then the last method is polygon. So generally polygons are 3 to infinite, but here 3 to 40. It depends upon the software. You can see here the parameters doesn't go above 40. Generally polygons are nothing but same length and same angles from starting from 3, because 2 is a closed region, cannot